Let's talk about strikers, the deadliest weapons in this beautiful game called football. Or rather, to my American audience, it's called soccer. And the sport you play with your hands, you call football. I've been trying to figure that out for years, but let's not unpack that madness today, otherwise this video will end up on the psychology channel. You see, football has its saints, but it also has its killers. Strikers aren't just players, they're predators. They circle defenders like Wi-Fi sharks, waiting for one weak signal, and then boom, execution. From the 1990s until today, the game has been shaped by men who understood one truth better than anyone else. Goals equal power. And power is everything. They turned matches into crime scenes, defenders into trauma patients, and entire nations into either believers or lifelong therapy clients. These men didn't just score, they left scars, emotional ones, the kind that wake you up at 3 a.m. screaming, "Why didn't we mark him?" Tonight we're opening the case files, the hit list. This is the roll call of football's deadliest assassins. Some killed with elegance, some with chaos, some with machine-like efficiency, but all of them left defenders staring at the sky, whispering the same question: what just happened? Didier Drogba, the man who didn't just score goals, he ended dynasties. Drogba wasn't your 40 goals a season guy. He wasn't about stats or highlight reels against weak opposition. Drogba was the man you called when everything was on the line. A football mercenary whose job was simple: show up when the pressure was suffocating, when the stakes were highest, and kill the game. Champions League final 2012, Bayern Munich in their own stadium, 88th minute, Chelsea were dead and buried. Then one corner, Drogba rises, boom, a goal, a lifeline. That header didn't just save Chelsea, it rewrote football history. And then the penalty in the shootout, so brutal and ice cold. Trophy was secured. That's Drogba for you. He thrived on pain, on suffering. He waited for you to breathe, then ripped the air from your lungs. Arsenal fans know it best. He didn't just score against them, he feasted on them over and over again, like a predator that kept returning to the same hunting ground. His power was terrifying. Defenders bounced off him like cardboard. He could score thunderbolts from range, bully his way through entire backlines, or just be in the right place at the right time. He was complete. But more than that, he was cruel in front of goal. Drogba was proof that deadliness isn't about quantity, it's about moments. Moments where the entire weight of football history hangs in the balance. And he never blinked. He once said, "I'm a warrior, I fight for my team." But the truth is, he was more than that. He was a closer, a hitman, the kind of striker who doesn't just win you games, he wins you legacies. Zlatan Ibrahimović, the football's godfather. Some strikers kill with precision, some with speed. Zlatan, he killed with arrogance. This wasn't just a footballer, this was a mafia boss who stepped onto the pitch with a smirk that said, "You work for me now." And the defenders, they did. Zlatan was 6'5", built like a tank, yet as flexible as a gymnast. Who else in history has scored a 30-yard bicycle kick against England with the kind of casual flair that made it look like street football? Nobody. That goal wasn't just a strike. It was a public execution. From Ajax to Juventus, Inter, Barcelona, Milan, PSG, Manchester United, LA Galaxy, he carried his aura everywhere. Zlatan didn't just play for clubs, he owned them. Paris didn't become PSG's empire until Zlatan arrived. He turned a club into his personal theatre of destruction. He scored over 500 career goals, not just goals, works of violence disguised as art, taekwondo inspired volleys, impossible back heels, long-range rockets. Each goal screamed, "You are beneath me." But here's the secret. Beneath the bravado, the jokes, I am Zlatan. This is a player who terrified defenders because he was unpredictable. You never knew if he was going to smash you with raw power or humiliate you with something outrageous. Deadliness isn't just about numbers, it's about control. And Zlatan controlled the narrative. He made football his personal gangster movie. And just like a mafia boss, he knew when to send a message. He once said, "I came like a king, I left like a legend." That's not arrogance, that's evidence. Zlatan wasn't just deadly, he was inevitable. Samuel Eto'o, the silent hitman. Eto'o didn't waste words, he wasted defenders. He was pace, he was movement, he was cold-blooded finishing, no dancing, no showboating, just ruthless strikes that tore through goalkeepers before they could even react. At Barcelona, he was part of the deadliest trio of his generation, Ronaldinho, Deco, and Eto'o. But while the others provided magic, Eto'o provided the kill shot. Champions League finals, he delivered. Against Arsenal in 2006, he equalized when Barca was suffocating. In 2009, he opened the scoring against Manchester United. He was the man who ended dreams. Then came Inter Milan, Jose Mourinho's assassin. Mourinho didn't just want goals. He wanted discipline, sacrifice, destruction. Eto'o gave him all three. He wasn't just scoring in Italy, he was running himself into the ground, tracking back, tackling, defending, and then still finding time to bury the ball in the net. He's the only player to win back-to-back trebles with two different clubs. Think about that. While others chased Ballon d'Ors, Eto'o was busy stealing entire seasons. And yet, people don't talk about him enough. That's the beauty of a true hitman. He doesn't advertise. He doesn't need the spotlight. He lets the bodies of his victims tell the story. He is Cameroon's all-time top scorer, with over 350 career goals, 4 African Player of the Year awards, deadly everywhere he went. Eto'o was like a professional killer, no wasted movement, no hesitation, no mercy, and when the job was done, he simply walked away. That's what makes him deadly. You didn't even see it coming. By the way, if you're enjoying this countdown story, hit that like button now and subscribe to this channel. Doing so truly helps us grow here on YouTube. Plus, it also encourages us to do more football stories, and trust me, we've got plenty of them waiting to be dropped soon. Now, back to the video. David Villa, Spain's silent executioner. Villa wasn't loud, he wasn't arrogant, he wasn't flashy, he was clinical. At Valencia, he built his reputation as a striker who could score from anywhere. Free kicks, penalties, open play, left foot, right foot, headers. He had every weapon in the arsenal, and he used them with devastating accuracy. When Spain entered Euro 2008, they weren't favourites, but Villa turned into their assassin-in-chief. Top scorer, hat-tricks, ice-cold finishes. He ripped through Russia, he destroyed Sweden, he carried Spain to the title. And then, in 2010, he did it again on the world's biggest stage, in South Africa, at the World Cup. Villa scored 5 goals, dragging Spain through knockout games. Every strike was a dagger. Against Portugal, against Paraguay. Each goal was a death sentence. Without Villa, Spain probably couldn't have won their first ever World Cup. And then came Barcelona. Surrounded by Messi, Xavi and Iniesta, he didn't shrink. He was elevated. He became the perfect weapon, striking when opponents were already exhausted from chasing Barca's possession carousel. He didn't need 10 chances. He needed one. Villa wasn't theatrical. He wasn't controversial. That's what made him more terrifying. He slipped into games quietly and left with your season in pieces. Spain's all-time top scorer for years, with over 400 career goals, and still, somehow, underrated. David Villa was the ghost with a gun. You didn't see him coming, and by the time you noticed, it was too late. Luis Suárez, the football's mad dog. Deadliest strikers are supposed to be clinical, composed, but in Suárez's case was chaos. He was unpredictable, he was insane, and that's what made him lethal. Ajax, Liverpool, Barcelona, Atletico, everywhere he went, he carried defenders into nightmares. He nutmegged for fun. He scored from impossible angles. He never stopped moving. He never stopped fighting. Liverpool fans remember him like a fever dream. 2013-14 season, he scored 31 Premier League goals in 33 games. Nutmegs, volleys, free kicks. He carried an entire club on his back. He almost dragged them to the title, alone. Then Barcelona. The MSN era, Messi, Suárez, Neymar, 3 assassins in one team. Suárez wasn't just the worker, he was the killer. 2015 Champions League final, Suárez scores, classic, relentless. But what makes Suárez legendary isn't just the goals, it was the chaos. He literally bit opponents, he dived, he fought, he became the villain. And that villain role, it fueled him. Defenders didn't just fear his skill, they feared his madness. Over 500 career goals. Golden Shoes, Champions League, Copa America, La Liga, Premier League domination. Suárez wasn't graceful, he wasn't smooth, he was brutal, raw, ugly, and in football, ugly kills just as well as beauty. Thierry Henry, football's smooth criminal. Henry didn't run, he glided, he didn't score, he painted. At Arsenal, he became untouchable. Defenders weren't just beaten, they were embarrassed. Henry would drift into space, toy with you, and then, with the cold elegance of a hitman in a designer suit, finish you off. His trademark? Cut in from the left, curl it into the far corner. Defenders knew it was coming, goalkeepers knew it was coming, and still, they couldn't stop it. That's not skill, that's inevitability. 226 goals for Arsenal, invincible season, 2 Premier League titles, 4 golden boots. He didn't just dominate, he redefined the art of striking in England. And on the international stage, World Cup winner, Euro 2000 champion, France's record scorer for years. Henry wasn't just club royalty, he was a global star. But what made Henry deadly was his style. Others bullied defenders. Henry seduced them. He looked like silk, but he cut like glass. And even when he moved to Barcelona, surrounded by Messi and Eto'o, he still delivered. 2009 treble winner, a killer who could adapt, evolve, survive. Henry wasn't violent. He didn't leave scars with brute force. He left scars because defenders walked off the pitch humiliated, knowing they'd been played like puppets. If football is art, Henry was Picasso with a blade. Robert Lewandowski, the accountant of death. Some strikers bring chaos, others bring beauty. Lewandowski brought numbers. Cold, ruthless, merciless numbers. You gave him 9 minutes, he scored 5 goals. That night against Wolfsburg wasn't just a football match, it was a massacre, a record-breaking, bone-chilling display of pure efficiency. At Borussia Dortmund, he announced himself with 4 goals against Real Madrid, against Mourinho's men. On the biggest stage, he didn't flinch. He dismantled them, piece by piece. Then came Bayern Munich, where he became a machine. Hat-trick after hat-trick, season after season. The Bundesliga wasn't a league, it was his personal feeding ground. He wasn't flashy, he wasn't dramatic, he was clinical. Left foot, right foot, headers, inside the box, outside the box. Lewandowski turned scoring into an industrial process. And in 2020, when Bayern lifted the Champions League, he was the engine. Top scorer in every competition, the killer behind the machine. People called Messi and Ronaldo inevitable, but Lewandowski was inevitability in disguise. You forgot about him for 1 second, and then suddenly, goal. Over 600 career goals and still counting. The numbers don't lie. Lewandowski wasn't about beauty, he wasn't about chaos, he was about execution. Cold, calculated, perfect. He was the accountant of death, and the balance sheet always ended in your destruction. Lionel Messi, football's quiet apocalypse. Messi doesn't look like a killer. Small frame, quiet voice. But that's the trick. He lulls you into thinking he's harmless. Then he rips you apart. He kills differently. He doesn't overwhelm. He doesn't bully. He hypnotizes. The ball glued to his feet. Defenders circling, waiting for a mistake. But Messi doesn't make mistakes. He makes decisions. At Barcelona, he scored 672 goals, 10 La Liga titles, 4 Champions Leagues. Each season, the same pattern. Messi drifts into space. You think he's covered. You think you've stopped him. Then he accelerates. A pass, a feint, a shot, a goal, game over. What makes him terrifying is inevitability. You knew what was coming. He's going to cut inside. He's going to curl it left-footed. You planned for it. You doubled up. And still, goal. Ask Boateng. 1 body feint, 1 drop of the shoulder. Messi sent him to the shadow realm. Ask Real Madrid. Year after year, Messi silenced the Bernabeu. He didn't just score against them, he owned them. And internationally, Copa America champion, World Cup champion. The narrative was complete. The final crown for the quiet killer. Over 800 career goals. But numbers don't tell the story. The fear in defenders' eyes does. The resignation, the helplessness. Messi isn't violent. He doesn't roar. He whispers. He whispers goals into existence. And that's the deadliest thing of all. Cristiano Ronaldo, football's perfect machine of desire. Ronaldo wasn't born deadly. He built himself into it. From a skinny winger at Sporting to the most complete striker the game has ever seen. At Manchester United, he learned the craft. Step-overs turned into goals. Free kicks turned into weapons. He went from showman to executioner. Then Madrid, the empire. He scored 450 goals in 438 games. Read that again. More goals than games. In the Champions League, he wasn't just the top scorer, he was the entire script. Finals, semi-finals, quarter-finals. If Ronaldo was there, he scored. That's simple. Headers, he jumped higher than defenders thought possible. Volleys, he smashed them in. Tap-ins, he mastered the ugly goals too. Ronaldo didn't discriminate. Every type of goal was his. At Juventus, at Portugal, even back at Manchester, he kept killing games. Reinventing himself again and again, from winger to forward to a goal machine, now to legend. But what makes Ronaldo deadly isn't just the goals, it's the obsession, the addiction. He built his body like a weapon, trained like a soldier. He wanted every record to be broken, win every crown, traumatize every victim. Some strikers enjoy goals, Ronaldo devours them. That hunger is what separates him. Cristiano wasn't just deadly, he was relentless, and relentlessness is death. Ronaldo Nazário, the phenomenon, the storm, the deadliest striker of all time. Before Messi, before Cristiano, before Lewandowski's numbers and Henry's elegance, there was R9. And when he was at his peak, there was nothing like him. Nothing. Explosive speed, unstoppable dribbling, ruthless finishing. He didn't just beat defenders, he embarrassed them. He ripped through entire teams like they weren't even there. At Barcelona, 1 season, 47 goals in 49 games. Unreal. At Inter Milan, he tore Serie A, the most defensive league in the world, to shreds. He had everything. Left foot, right foot, chips, rockets, solo runs from halfway. He was football's hurricane. Defenders didn't even try to stop him, they just prayed. And here's the insane part. Injuries destroyed him. His knees shattered, his body betrayed him. But even broken, he came back. Won World Cup 2002, scored 8 goals, the top scorer and won the Golden Boot. Champion of the world with a bad knee. From the ashes, he rose again. He didn't just score, he terrified. Zidane called him the best. Maldini said no one could touch him. Ask defenders of the 90s. They'll tell you the same. R9 was a nightmare that never ended. Over 400 career goals, 3-time FIFA World Player of the Year, 2-time Ballon d'Or, and yet the numbers still don't explain the feeling. Because watching Ronaldo Nazário wasn't watching a striker, it was watching a force of nature, the deadliest striker football has ever seen. So there it is, 10 assassins, 10 predators, 10 legends of destruction. From Drogba's big game bombs to Ronaldo Nazário's hurricane, they ruled football's underworld. And here's the truth, clubs may win titles, coaches may take the glory, but in football, just like in business, just like in crime, it's the killer who decides the ending. If you made it this far, I want to say big thank you to everyone who has been supporting our channel so far. Honestly, we couldn't do this without you guys. If you are new here and haven't already done so, could you kindly help us out by liking this video, plus also subscribing to this channel, as doing so does help us grow here on YouTube. And if you want more football stories, watch the video in the top right corner of your screen right now. But before you go, do you agree with our countdown? Who should really be your number one? Or tell us, who's your favorite striker of all time? Drop it in the comments. Let's have a discussion. See you in the next one.